All right, everybody, welcome to the video here for lesson number 1 in the last unit of the year on circles. So in today's lesson, we learned about the circle formula for what we call center radius form of a circle. You'll notice in tomorrow's lesson, we'll learn a new form of the formula, which is a little bit different. But let's work with today's. So one of the things that we learned today was that all of the circle formulas kind of look like Pythagorean theorem. And the part that it's equal to here is representing the radius squared. So because this wants to find the diameter, I can first figure out that the radius is the square root of 121, which is 11. Therefore, the diameter is 22, because the diameter is double the radius. The second question gives us an equation of x squared plus y squared equals 40, and we know that all of the points that lie on the circle wind up fitting into this formula and making this true. So if I wanted to try out one of these, I can do -2 squared plus 6 squared equals 40. If this does equal 40, then that works. So I can say 2 squared is 4, 6 squared is 36, so 40 equals 40. So this is on the circle. Now, one of the good things here is if you're good at algebra, you could determine pretty quickly that choice B and choice C are also going to be on the circle. Because if I square -6 or +6, it's going to be the same number. If I square +2 or -2, it's going to be the same number because negative numbers squared are still positives. So the only one that doesn't make sense is D. And I can prove it to you by doing 5 squared plus -8 squared equals 40, and see that this is not going to be 40. It's going to be 25 plus 64, or 89, which is not 40. Now, if you didn't see that pattern or that trick that allowed me to cross out C and D as well after trying A, you could just try all 4 choices and see which one doesn't make 40. Number 3 is similar to a question we did in class today. So it wants to determine the center, the radius, and the equation of the circle. Now, if these are the endpoints of the diameter, they're not going to really help us too much other than here's one point, here's the other point. The middle of them is the center. So this center we can find by finding the midpoint of these two. So the center of these two endpoints of the diameter is going to come from saying the x values added up divided by 2 and the y values added up divided by 2. So the center is going to be the point 2, 4. The radius is going to be half of the length of the diameter. So since I know the endpoints of the diameter, I could just find the diameter by saying 6 minus -2 or plus 2 squared plus 7 minus 1 squared. So that's going to wind up being 8 squared plus 6 squared, which is 100, which then gives us 10. Now that 10 is the diameter, therefore the radius is 5. So now I know the center and I know the radius, so I can write the equation of the circle. So it would be x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 5 squared, which is 25. If you notice, this question was in the notes and then it was again in the homework, so it must be important. And this comes up a lot on the Regents exam, where they give you the endpoints of the diameter or they give you the center and one of the points on the circle, and we need to use the distance formula. They like intermixing 2 different units in the same question. Number 4 has us sketching 2 different circles and seeing how many times they intersect. So circle A is the coordinate of a center of -4, +2, and the radius is 5. Now, if this is on a test or a quiz or even the Regents exam, if you have to sketch a circle, I know in class we said you don't really need a compass, but you could always ask for a compass so that we can make a nice circle. And then if I graph the other point, circle B, so there's circle A, So circle B has the center of 2, -1, so 2, -1. And it has a radius of 6, so I'm going to go 6 in either direction. Counting sometimes is hard. Okay, so then if we make our circle here as well, I must have counted wrong there. That point looks off. So we wind up having our circle. Notice the circles intersect 1, 2 times. The last question asks us to write an equation of a circle with a center of 0, 7 and a diameter of 18. To write an equation, I don't want diameter, I want radius, so right away I'm going to change that to 9. So because there's no value to add to x, I'm going to start with x squared. Because the value to add to y is 7, I'm going to do y minus 7. Remember, it's opposite. And then because the radius is 9, I'm going to do 9 squared, which is 81. There's my equation. Hopefully this lesson was nice and straightforward or easy, whatever you want to say, because lesson number 2 is a bit more challenging just because of the algebra involved. All right, so best of luck with your homework. Hopefully this video helped.